Good Tuesday morning. A busy day of sports yesterday. Lots of things that were happening, unexpected, some expected. Monday Night Football game that was sort of just blah, but crazy NFL news earlier on in the day. Seems like Jim Irsay had an extra one of his Scotch and Vicodin smoothies in the morning and decided to do some unbelievably unprecedented stuff with the head coaching position. You had the Knicks blow out the Timberwolves. You had poor Kevin Durant miss a free throw, and the second one was intentional, but he had made 62 straight. Then when he really needed to make one at the end of the game, brick. Oh, that's just too bad. And we got some free agency rumblings. Free agency rumblings out there with both the Yankees and the Mets. We're going to get to all of it. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Hey, good morning, G. Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff went on yesterday, and, lucky for me, I was on Monday QB on CBS Sports Network right here, and the first thing we talk about is the firing of my college roommate, Frank Reich.
Yeah.
And I was scheduled to be on last night with Rich Gannon and Steve Berline and Adam Shine, and, it was in some ways it was shocking to me, but in other ways, as I read the tea leaves over the last few weeks, it wasn't so surprising that I was caught off guard.
Yeah.
Especially with what happened and how the team played on Sunday up in New England, just basically getting hammered, and Sam Erlinger really not having any sort of chance. So it's interesting what happened out there. I did talk to Frank yesterday for a while. Very disappointed that he was unable to bring a championship to Indianapolis, to Mr. Irsay, to Chris Ballard, to the fans. He was certainly disappointed, just like I'm sure Matt Rule was a few weeks ago. We all kind of get, we forget that these guys are humans. We forget that, that they have feelings and that there are a lot of emotions that go on in this because they put so much into it. And then I was just thinking, talking to Frank over the last 4.5 years, he's had 5 starting quarterbacks, for sure. That's one of the issues. But, they had to navigate through the George Floyd riots, which he was lauded for the way he handled his team and the way that he opened up his team to understanding each other and everything else that was going on around that time. Had to navigate through the whole COVID-19 situation like the rest of the league did. And then, like I said, had to deal with 5 different quarterbacks. And one who didn't get vaccinated but then got COVID-19 in Carson Wentz at the end of the season, lost their last 2 games and missed the playoffs. So, it's not, like I said, for him, he's disappointed, he's sad. Nobody likes to get fired. Nobody likes to get told they're going to be relieved of their duties. But at the end of the day, for me, his really good friend, I'm relieved, actually, because the guy that I saw on the sideline over the last 3 weeks is not the same guy that I know. I mean, something took the life out of him.
It's called Jim Irsay. That's the thing that took the life out of him. He made him change his quarterback when he didn't want to. He fired his offensive coordinator. Then he fired him, and they made one of the most mind-numbing decisions I've ever seen an owner make with a head coach in the history of the NFL. I mean, you can't pull a guy off of ESPN in the middle of a season who has never had any sort of pro coaching experience, doesn't have a staff, doesn't have someone that's going to call plays, and then have them coach this week. I mean, that is bat bleep crazy. I mean, absolutely crazy. Now, I know Jim Irsay's had a history of, being that crazy guy, and he's a little bit weird. It's like, it's just Jim Irsay, a little rough around the edges. But, I mean, this is just full-blown panic, madman at the helm, and God knows what's going to happen next. I mean, Jeff Saturday? Jeff Saturday's a consultant in addition to his ESPN job. Was the consulting that he did, fire Frank and hire me? And then Jim Irsay goes, okay, well, we'll put you right in there. I mean, think about all the logistics. I don't need to tell you, for Christ's sakes. You know more about this than I do. But think about all the logistics of getting there on the sideline, practicing. He's never run a practice. He's never been in a game. He's never dealt with the communication. And all of a sudden, he's going to be on the sideline of an NFL game, and everything's going to be okay?
And he's going to be making decisions. Yeah, I mean, that's a whole nother aspect of this. I don't think Frank ever thought that Jeff Saturday was angling for his job or any of that stuff. As a matter of fact, they did try to hire Jeff Saturday for Frank's staff back in, I think, 2019, and he turned it down for whatever reason. I don't know why. Because this is the aftermath of the Frank firing. So Frank's out of the building. Frank's moving on with his life. Frank gets a joy, maybe some fall foliage and a nice Thanksgiving. Doesn't have to worry about games. and he and his wife Linda can travel a little bit and do like what his buddy did, Doug Peterson. Maybe take a year off and then get back in when you want to get back in.
He's got a lot of time left on that contract. So
he does. No, he does. I mean, all that part of it is good. And Frank's a very practical guy. Like I said, he's a guy of high moral character. Believe me, there'll be a team out there that will want him. And, when they see who he is and find out who he is and how good he is and understand what he was dealing with in Indianapolis, he'll get another job. So I'm not worried about that in the immediate aftermath. It hurts. It's emotional. But for me, I'm like, oh, thank God. Now I can look at the Colts in a different way. Now I can look at them and see exactly maybe, the face that Chris Ballard had at this press conference yesterday when they were announcing Jeff Saturday. I felt like he just wanted to stand up and say, I had nothing to do with this. But, for Jeff, I don't know how you
take the job.
Yeah, I mean, if Woody Johnson called me today, or let's say John Mara called Phil Simms. It's more like John Mara calling Phil Simms than Woody calling me. Because, Jeff won a Super Bowl with the Indianapolis Colts. He's still there in the area. He's still a part of the franchise. I know Phil's not really a part of the Giant franchise, but he's always welcome there. He's always with open arms and everything. I don't believe. I could be wrong. You might want to call Phil this morning. We may want to ask him this.
God. I don't know. His ornery ass doesn't want to hear from us at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Well, no, he's got his Inside the NFL thing today, so he'll be up, and he's probably looking at film right now as we speak.
All right.
So it would be like the Giants hiring Phil Simms, like right off of the CBS desk, and going into a bunch of guys that probably don't even know who he is, trying to, impart wisdom on young players in the NFL. And he's like he's their grandfather. Now, Jeff's a little bit closer in age than Phil would be, but still, I don't think Phil would say yes to that.
I don't think anybody.
I know I wouldn't. I know I there's no way that I am. I could talk football. I could talk situational stuff. I could talk about hiring practices. I could talk about relationships between players and coaches. I could talk about coaching staffs. I can see a good coach and a good communicator when I see it, like Brian Daboll has been this year for the Giants. I could see, the way that they handle themselves in press conferences. I could see the way that they handle certain situations, and I can have an immediate reaction prior to the discussion of the particular situation that they're trying to make a decision. I can do all of that stuff. But to think that I could actually step in front of a football team, figure out who's playing, figure out the playbook, and then on top of all of that, be the head coach to both sides of the ball and special teams.
When you don't even have a bye week, by the way.
Exactly.
I mean, you're coaching in a game on Sunday. All of this happened yesterday. I don't think there's anybody out there other than Jeff Saturday that would say yes, because quite frankly, I think that if he ever wanted to be a real head coach, this is going to hurt him more than it helps him. I mean, if I were Jeff Saturday, I'd say, listen, you want me to be the head coach? Let me go through an entire offseason, sit down with Chris Ballard, learn the roster, hire my own staff, and I'll start next year. But, after you go through the process of actually trying to hire a coach and going through the things you need to do, like make me a candidate at the end of the year. Not now. He can't succeed in this situation. And if he does, it'll be a miracle. And maybe it will just be more about the players than it is him. I mean, Jeff Saturday's got a nice job, and he's got a nice pension from the NFL. It's not like he needs this. I think this is a completely ridiculous decision on his part by accepting this job to work for that maniac.
Well, he's been working for that so-called maniac for the last, number of years as a consultant. But, my thing is, all right, if I'm a player and I know the guy that's coming in here has never coached before, but is an icon in the community and a great player that has a great history with the organization, and I'm going to listen to him after I've been with, my previous coach for 4.5 years. It's got to be like the most bizarre situation from the player's perspective as well.
Yeah, I mean, all of a sudden, in the middle of the season, and as I mentioned, not a bye week. This is a regular week where you're getting ready for a game. In the middle of this miserable season, all of a sudden you show up to practice, and your head coach is gone, and then some guy you were watching on TV is your head coach. It's crazy. I mean, the NFL never ceases to amaze when you've got wild cards like Jim Irsay out there. Anything is possible. But, I mean, he just went off the deep end. He just completely went off the deep end. You know what this reminds me of is Gina has this problem when she's, trying to do something in the house, there's a great example. There was a little scratch on the refrigerator, and then just a tiny scratch, and then in trying to fix that scratch, she like got something and started rubbing it really hard on the thing, and now there's a giant scratch on the refrigerator.
Oh, that's not good.
Right. And there was one time she was trying to hang a picture.
Yeah.
Right. And then I came home, and there was a hole in the wall the size of my head. And I said, what happened? She's like, well, I tried to do it, then I tried to move it, and then the whole thing caved in because she doesn't have any patience. And she's just hitting stuff and breaking things. So I tell her, I said, just wait, just have some patience. I'm not good at this stuff, but we'll get somebody in here that could do it. She's home sometimes, so sometimes she gets a little antsy. This is what Jim Irsay was doing yesterday. This is what he was doing.
Smashing walls.
He's smashing walls, breaking things, making it worse. Like, all right, we'll fire this guy. Sam Ellinger's a quarterback. Pull Jeff Saturday's ass off of TV and throw him in there. And now all of a sudden he's sitting there, and there's a big hole in the sheetrock. And nothing's going to change that until you get somebody in there that actually knows what the hell they're doing.
And remember the owners' meetings about a month ago when he came out, and he was the one owner that basically broke ranks and just opened up to the media about Dan Snyder.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, Dan Snyder's, his suspension is up, and he's allowed to go to his first game. And what's the first game? The Commanders at the Colts, and Dan Snyder's in the building. Yeah. And what happened in that game?
Yeah, I mean,
the Commanders came back and won
the
right
game
at the
17-16,
right at the end. So that is when I started to feel like,
yeah,
this is something's happening out there in Indianapolis that just doesn't feel right.
Just look at him. Jim Irsay just looks like that guy that when he walks into the Christmas party, you're like, whoa, like things about to go down now.
Yeah, I mean, so. I don't know I don't know what's going to happen with them. I mean, there are guys on their staff there that, have NFL background and all that other stuff. But, man, I don't know how the players are going to react to this. I can't wait to hear, player commentary about what it was like standing in there when Jeff Saturday walked in. Here's your new head coach, guys, who's never coached before. The one thing I will say, players are not stupid, man. We sit in those meetings. And when we hear the coach talking to us, we know whether or not that guy has credibility. We also know whether or not that guy knows what he's doing. And, when I walked first into the Bengals organization in 1984, I walked into a room that had Kenny Anderson, Sam Weiss, Bruce Coslett, Chris Collinsworth, Steve Kreider, Pat McAnally, Isaac Curtis, M.L. Carr, Anthony Munoz, Dave Remington, Max Montoya. I mean, it may have been the smartest team in the history of football. And watching them put it in the playbook, I was intimidated immediately because I'm like, I can't learn this stuff. There's just no way. How do these guys all know this? And it took me a year to be able to get there. But what I really noticed was on the field when the coach started calling plays and situational football and going for it and not going for it. He made some bad mistakes for sure when I was there. But for the most part, he would surprise me with play calls in certain situations, which told me as a player that he was buttoned up and that he was ready to go and knew exactly what the hell we were going to do offensively. Now, fast forward to when Richie Kotite took over the Jets.
Yeah, you knew immediately.
I knew immediately that it was not going to work.
Yeah.
I just knew it because, Richie said in his first meeting, I don't really care about anything but Sunday. Mm-hmm. Those 3 hours on Sunday, I need effort. And that's a good message to send for sure. Those 3 hours on Sunday, you need effort and you need but in order to get to those 3 hours on Sunday, there's a lot of work that has to be done before that. And it comes down to practice and preparation and meetings and understanding and communication and so many things that go haywire when the game starts. And you have to be able to adjust to the adversity when things are happening in real time. And we were never able to do that for a number of reasons. One, we weren't prepared properly. But number two, we had a lot of young players. And when young players aren't directed the right way, they become like, the electric football game that we had when they were kids. Yeah. You turn it on and everybody starts going all different ways. And I make fun of it. But then again, I was right in the middle of it. And that's the part that I worry about Jeff Saturday, because the players are going to look right at him and they're going to want to make sure that he knows what he's doing on the sideline. And like I said, we could talk about all that on TV, but in real time.
When you've never done it before in the middle of a season.
And the anxiety, his heart's going to be pumping. I wish him well, but I just don't see how it can be successful, especially after the team is already not successful.
Right. Train wreck spot against the Raiders coming up.
By the way, he did tweet about that.
I know.
Raiders.
He said the Raiders look horrible. I know. A couple weeks ago. Now
You
he's
think
playing
if
the
you're
Raiders.
Josh McDaniels, you're putting that up on the board?
Yeah, but probably his players are going to look at Josh McDaniels going, he's right, coach. We are horrible.
Yeah,
and you're a terrible coach as well. So just quickly, before we go to break, Allie is not here, our regular makeup artist.
Right.
She's sick. She has a stomach virus, and she was in here yesterday. So we have a backup makeup artist who somehow made me look whiter than even my natural skin tone.
Yeah.
So...
Well, we have to work on that.
We do.
Do I look whiter? I mean, it's almost impossible for me to look whiter.
No, I think, yeah.
Do I look good?
A little shiny.
A little shiny?
You look Mediterranean right now compared to Gio.
I mean, I look like I'm embalmed. Hey, Stephen Waldron, CBS Sports. You there this morning? Stephen? Good morning. How do I look on TV? You're looking at the monitors and everything. How do I look?
Can you put a filter on him?
Yeah, can we do something about this? I mean, can you make it? Yeah, there we go. That's a little bit better. Is there something you could do? Is she still here, by the way? Our backup? She is still here? All right, so we're going to have to...
We're going to have to do a lot of work.
Yeah, this is, I mean, now I know what I look like when I'm dead. Like, at least I have an idea of what I'm going to look like.
Close your eyes.
Right, and put the hands over.
Yeah, let me see.
There you go.
Yeah.
Say your respects.
All right. I appreciated the 5 years that we were together. You were funny. You were good. Have a nice afterlife. Love you.
Wow. All right, there you go. That was nice.
Okay.
I'm just happy you showed up to my wake.
Yeah, okay. Do you usually pat the corpse like that?
Oh, of
Depends
course, yeah.
on who it is.
Yeah, he flips it over and it smacks
Smack it right in the back. Yes.
All right, there, buddy. Go get him up there.
Go get him up there
Yeah.
if that's where you're going.
Make us proud. Okay, I'm sorry. Like, you're talking about all this serious stuff with your friend Frank Reich, and then when my face would pop up on the monitor, I would just start laughing. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, I saw. I thought there was something going on. I thought it was me.
No, it wasn't you. This is rough. This is very rough. Okay, let's take a break.
All
Let's
right.
get me a little bit darker, and we'll come back. We'll get Jerry's update at about 6:25 or so, 6:26, and all that'll be great. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network. A little bit of a controversy. Did you see this?
What now?
Controversy.
Oh, yeah, with the Powerball?
Yeah, it has
yes.
not been picked yet. Apparently, there was a technical issue, so everybody that bought tickets.
The technical issue was one state.
Okay.
One state had a problem getting all their numbers in. This
I don't
is
know
what
what
the problem
state
was.
that was.
They wouldn't tell you what state it is. It's probably our state.
Yeah, right, exactly.
State is
Morons
stupid.
running this state. Anyway.